apologize for that at the same time. You know, I started taking photos exactly 25 years ago. Soon 26 in January. And I started on a very strange way. Because I always loved photography, admired photographers, and never thought I could do it myself. Because, in fact, I'm quite modest. And not too pretentious. So I thought, some people do it so well, how I could do that, I better stay in my trade. Then, one season at Chanel, in the beginning of Chanel, we make always a dossier de presse. It's called something, photos for the press, what they get when they come to the shows. And in those days, 26 years ago, those photographies were done by has-beens or beginners. Both had no idea of fashion, because the dossier de presse is done when the collection is not ready, because the printing time in between is quite big. So we tried several times, and after number 3, Monsieur Eric Fender, who is the image director from Chanel, said to me, "If you are that difficult, do it yourself." So we hired one assistant, and we rented a Hasselblad, I remember it was a Hasselblad, and started. And the first model I photographed was the famous Ines Lafressange, who was then the Chanel girl. And then how it all started. From there we went to advertising, to editorial, to books and everything. Then we met Mr. Style, and the whole thing became even better, because his genius for printing and all those made those things much more beautiful and much more memorable.
And you take photographs of your own designs, and you take other kinds of photographs.
Yes, but you know, I work a lot for Vogue and magazines like this and Bazaar and things like that. Of course, I cannot only photograph my own thing. First of all, my own thing is okay, but I like also to see other things. And in fact, I think for a designer to be a photographer is not a bad thing, because if not, you stay in your studio and you are isolated. Going into the world of photography, what means into the world of advertising, editorial, models and all that, you really live the world of fashion. I mean, you are not too good for that. I'm not like one of my colleagues who said one day to me, "You know, in my world, the world of art," I said, "Why? You don't get this anymore?" And I'm a nice person, I don't say the name. Because you all may know this lady. So, for me, it's something very healthy. And then, taking photographs is one thing, but printing them is another, because I'm a paper freak. The thing I like best and most in life is beautiful paper. My sketches is the starting point of my collections, and the print of Mr. Style for our catalogs, for the advertising, everything, are the final touch. So it's paper in the beginning, and it's paper in the end. That's what one calls a paper freak.
I feel like, you know, in auction houses, how the porters say, "Showing here, sir." Over there, Mr. Stadler was going to, I got his name wrong. Yes, but we're going to talk to him later about the wonder of paper.
Yes, yes, you can. He's very good on that one.
Now, thinking about these photographs, which are very singular.
If not, there was no reason to make them, you know. I wasn't asked to do a catalog. I mean, I have nothing against catalog. Catalog is needed, people can see what they will buy. But this is more a strange vision of objects I own, because those cars were not borrowed by Royce. I did it with my own cars. You know?
And it's a story. There seems to be a story.
It's more like a vision than a story. Yeah? It's like a kind of abstract art with something very concrete. But I don't say abstract art, I say something abstract. Let's be modest.
It's sort of abstract, because we get to the point where we're not quite sure what we're looking at.
Anyway, you're never sure anyway. And you know, it's a game with lines, and it's more a graphic effect. It doesn't want to sell Rolls Royce. It wanted to give a kind of game with the beauty of the lines of those cars, because the lines of Rolls Royce are very beautiful. And I don't say that because I'm here, I think it's polite. I wouldn't say the same thing about French cars.
What is the story? There is a narrative here, and it moves, and it's got a person in it.
but only want to see the transparency because they understand better the reflection of the landscape in the south of France on the car. And I think a human being gives something a little more moving to it. If it's only mechanical, it would not be the same thing. But it's a very modest present. There are only 2 photos. It's not the main purpose. The main purpose, the main idea is the car, the lines of the car, the details of the car, the details of the engine, and all that.
And they look astonishingly beautiful in a completely abstract way. It's called a different view. Why did you call it that?
Because normally you look at cars like this.
Yeah. Straight on.
Yeah,
yes.
There's nothing straight about those.
Yes. Yeah. And what happens in the end? We go round, here's the bloke, here's the different view, here's the abstraction. What do we get to at the end?
You know, it's something what has to be left to your imagination. I don't give orders that what you're supposed to get or what you will not get. This is a proposition of a visual effect open to the onlooker's mind. I'm not a lesson writer. It's a thing. You don't like it, you understand it, you understand it. There's perhaps nothing to understand except the line of the details of the Rolls Royce.
I think we like it.
I hope so.
I've been hearing, and you picked up and mentioned very early on, the question of the singularity in the paper and the printing technique.
That's very important.
And that's very important. Would you care to enlarge on that? Why so?
You know, if you want really enlarge on it, as you say, you better ask Mr. Steiner, because he is more technically informed than I am. I like the effect, the touch, the thing. I have a more physical approach. He has a technical approach. I don't want to have any technical approach in a way, even with camera. I like the idea of the view, but I don't want to be too involved with how all those things work. For me, it's a miracle.
But they're good. You said it's very physical, not technical. But what's the special thing it gives you doing things this way?
Because it's very much my personal aesthetic, my way to look at things. I mean, there's a touch of Russian constructivism, all kind of art influences retranslated into details of 2 beautiful cars.
Well, we're going to hear more about the wonder of special printing techniques and special paper in a moment. So, in all these, there's a combination of something very technical, a very technical product,
but
and nature.
Yes, but the mix is designed by man and designed by nature. I once made a book about that, about trees and the Eiffel Tower. And it was called Designed by Man and Designed by Nature. And it was quite interesting to see on one page certain kind of tree, on the other very special cutouts of the Eiffel Tower.